We live.
Okay.
She didn't even talk.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's perfect.
Oh my lord.
Anyway, welcome back, everybody, to the third season of Perspective. It's been a very long time.
Season 3. Do you remember when our last episode happened?
Huh?
Do you remember when our last episode happened? I can pull up when we posted it, but I don't even remember when we recorded.
I forgot what month it was for a second.
It's June. End of June.
Like March, probably. It's been a really long time.
No way, it was March. It was like around what was it, the season? Like around finals.
Well, before we get confused, this is Kayla.
Hi.
I've been told that we need to start introducing people a lot sooner because we'll just get on like a 10-minute conversation and just never know who we're talking to. Yeah, you guys know us. I was going to introduce us, but I feel like at this point you should know who we are.
You guys don't know me.
Or if you're here for the first time, well, actually, I can think about it like that. I'm Cole.
I'm Thomas.
Wait, I thought I was Thomas.
Oh, shiz. I'm Kayla.
Somebody didn't read the script.
Sorry,
before we
I'm
started.
Kayla. She's Thomas.
Hey.
And this is Joe Rogan's podcast.
No, it's not George's podcast. I hope not. Anyway, yes, it's been a very long time. Sorry for the delay. We've all been very busy.
Our last...
Try not to look. I'll try and hide as much as possible.
You're going to do a lot of editing
for,
to censor these.
Just the black bar over the toes.
But yeah, our last episode we posted was May 10th with Gracie. But
yeah.
So we had to record it like a week before or something.
Something like that. But yes, it's summer for us. We've all been very busy. The lovely lady on the end of the couch, super busy. So fortunate enough to what?
We're both busy too.
Not well. Okay, compared to her, I mean.
Even she said it herself, didn't
You woke up like an hour ago.
Yeah. I did tell Cole. I texted him and I said, so 3 o'clock, right?
Oh,
And he
okay,
goes,
yeah. So before we get started, thank you, Caleb. I completely forgot about that.
Lord.
So with Gracie's episode, the last one that we did, we had a little story at the beginning where
Lord.
there was, I think it was supposed to be at like 1. I was telling Caleb this story before.
No, it was at 2. She went on the board.
Okay, whatever time it was supposed to be. I was telling Caleb this before Thomas part of the story. But we were supposed to meet Gracie at 2, and then it got pushed back to like 2:30. But I didn't know this. So Gracie showed up at 2:30, and I'm like, that's odd. I've never known Gracie to be somebody that's late. You guys have heard this story already, but... So Gracie gets here at 2:30, and I was like... Am I tripping? I don't think you'd be a late person. He goes, oh no, Thomas pushed it back. And I was like, that's cool. He never told me. So I go in his room. I was a man
when I pushed it back, so.
I went in his room, and this man is out. Like the shutters closed and everything. So I was like sick. So I shake him and wake him up. He's like, all right, let me get ready. So we don't start recording till like 3:30, 3:45. Yeah. So similarly to that.
Hey, it was better this time.
I come out, get ready, start like setting up all the equipment and everything. I'm like, all right, Kayla's going to be here in like an hour or whatever. Thomas is in his pajamas and hoodie again. And I'm like, all right, well, not a good sign. He starts making food and eating. He's like, all right, I'm going to go take a shower at like 2:50.
It was 2:45, but okay.
And Thomas didn't come out until like 3:15.
No, I came out at 3:10.
No, you did not.
Yeah,
I looked.
did.
It was
I
3:15
checked
I
my
looked
on
at
the
my
dot.
clock as I was walking out. I said 3:10, 3:11.
3:15 on the dot. Maybe when you were walking out of your shower.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Because I opened your door and then you closed the door.
Well, yeah.
Unless you were like buck nude, I don't feel like you shouldn't have closed the door.
I was pretty much butt nude, so I walked out. I was like, why is my door open?
I also knocked at his door like 7 times, and you just never responded. But
we did get a free little concert. So
we did, yeah.
You heard me singing?
Yeah.
I didn't sing in the shower at all. Oh, I did sing one song. There was one song I did sing.
Well, when I walked in, you were singing, so. But anyway. So yeah, that's how this started. So at least you're consistent.
I've gotten also better, because like last time it was like an hour. This time it was like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I told Cole, I said, I know Thomas said 3, so in
I didn't
Thomas
say anything.
Cole said 3, but in Thomas time that means 4:30. But Cole's also here, and Cole is more punctual, so I didn't know which one to go on. So I texted Cole and I said, "So
You made the right
still
decision.
3, right?"
Yeah.
That's fair.
You wouldn't have gotten a text message back if you texted Thomas about it. But
I would just wouldn't like ask Cole, honestly.
But we're here, so
We're not that late. 3:30.
I'll be thinking about that, but that's in the past now. So next episode, which, okay, one more thing I gotta get, and then we can actually start it. I specifically chose 3 o'clock because like it's
Yeah, we had this conversation.
it's late afternoon because Kayla was asking me. She's like, "What time works for you guys?" And I said, "It's like 3 work because you were available to do it." And I was like, "Okay, 3 is fine because if Thomas and his sleeping habits, even if he woke up at like 2 o'clock." Just skip a meal, maybe have a little snack, take a shower. You're good to go.
Skipping a meal.
Oh nah, you know me, bro. Oh nah.
But I specifically chose 3 o'clock for that purpose, and we still didn't get started until like 3:20.
No, it's 3:15.
We didn't start until like
Oh.
3:20.
Just start telling your guests 30 minutes.
Give and take.
Maybe
30 minutes before you tell Thomas.
Maybe that's the itinerary. Like, all right, I'm on my way over. I'll just be like,
You know
just
that's how Allie does it now, right? Allie tells me a different time than everyone else.
that's really smart, actually.
Like Allie tells me 6:30, and like I get there at like 6:45, 7, and she's like, "Oh wait, he's on time." I'm like,
See, I've thought about doing that because like when I started banging on your door, Kayla wasn't even here yet. So I thought maybe it was gonna be like, oh, Kayla's here. Like, I need to.
oh, I low key just thought that was Kayla.
That's worse than you did. Okay, whatever.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't hear any knocking. If
That's-
there was knocking, I thought it was Kayla.
Okay, well that's so much worse than if I was knocking. But
Cole,
all right,
you have
whatever.
a girly knock.
I have a girly knock. I mean, the door moved when I knocked this, so if that's girly, then I don't know what a manly knock is. But so yeah, that's our little story. Do better, I guess. That's the
I
lesson
did do
to
better
learn
than
from this.
last time.
No, but like
Continue growth.
I don't do
Growth,
that.
Thomas.
You see how tall I am? Yeah.
you're not even okay. You're like an inch taller than I. Whatever. But yeah, so officially we can get in the episode. See, good thing that we introduced you like 10 minutes ago because.
Was it 10 minutes ago when we started recording?
Even now that we're like just talking about whatever, at least we know who's talking. So progress. So I have one thing to say, and then we're gonna segue into you
What we were talking about earlier.
breaking saying
Okay.
something. So admittedly, and I've said this about a couple people, but I was really looking forward to this episode because she's blushing over there.
Thanks.
Because like, when was the first time? Was it at Coyote Joe's the first? No, did I meet you at like a party here or something? I don't know.
It
When,
was Coyote
I
Joe's.
think
I
Coyote
think it
was
was
the first one.
That's the
'cause
first
I
time
think
we,
your
like-
birthday was after.
Yeah, because it was 2 weeks after. It was 2 weeks before my birthday.
I remember the first time I figured out who you were. I was on the phone with Thomas and he was talking to Allie and you said, "Hey," and I was like, "Who is
Oh,
that?"
yeah,
and they
that's
said, "Cole."
right.
And I
Yes.
said, I leaned into the phone and I said, "Who's Cole?"
it's funny because you were.
I think you were sick then, or either one of us. Someone was sick. I remember that.
Something, but he came into my room and I recognized Allie's voice, and then I was like, wait, who else is on the phone? And he said Kayla, and I just never like pieced it together because like I know when you guys were on the team, you're like super good friends, but I just never like pieced together which Kayla it was.
And
then-
I had been over here before, several times
Yeah,
actually.
she has. She like drove me to the airport last year when I was like working and stuff like that. She brought her
Oh.
chicken over.
A cat.
Chicken? Is that what
Yeah.
you said?
I call him Chicken Nugget because he's a little orange cat, but my brother calls him TC for Trash Cat. His official legal name is Sir Barrett Trash Beans.
So
He has a-
what?
Sir Barrett Trash Beans.
That's his legal name now.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know he got like a legalized name. That's funny, actually.
Wait, when did you bring a cat over?
This was a year ago, like last.
Yeah, last summer.
This was. Oh, she actually. That's a whole story. Cause she came over the same night. Hold on, you gotta be careful about this because like they listen to this. That's the thing. You gotta. Which one are you talking about? This is when you were dropping me off at the airport.
I wasn't.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that.
I wasn't gonna tell that story.
Which one were you talking about?
I was talking about how you told me. You said, "Hey, can you drive me to the airport around 2? You can come over like at like 10 o'clock or whatever. Or I need to be at the airport at 5, so you can come over at 2 because it's in the morning." And then
Yeah.
I drove, like, as I was driving from Huntersville, because that's where I was that summer, I call him, and he's like, "Wait, you're coming here now?" And I was like, "Yeah, you said come around 2." And he goes, "No, I meant tomorrow." And I was like, "You little shit. Like, I have the cat packed up. I have all the toys. I have a mini litter box.
Was that
I'm on the way." And you're like, "No, that's tomorrow." And I said, "Thomas, you said 2 a.m. tomorrow, the day before." That's how that works.
I don't remember that.
That'd be like if you said right now, will you come over at 2 a.m. tomorrow? That means in 12 hours.
I don't remember that story like that.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me, but I think after like one of the segments that we need to have this season is just like a solo episode with you about time management, because that seems to be a very bad recurring
It's
theme.
not a bad. It's just like I have. It's weird. My time clock is really okay. Look, my time clock is fucked up. I will say that. Like it's like
You don't have one.
no, it's fucked up. Like it's not that I don't have one. It's just like on a different clock than everyone else. Like you know how like daylight savings.
Spotify listeners
Continue.
are so confused.
So you know how like daylight savings.
Yes, Thomas. Daylight savings.
I run on like Thomas savings time. If that makes any sense.
It makes sense, but
It's not convenient for everyone, I know that. But like I'm trying to get better about it. But like I don't remember but look, I don't remember that story like that.
I can pull up the text receipts.
I mean, go ahead. Like
She
I don't
brought the
I don't remember.
documentation.
No, the only thing I remember is when you came over and you were like
I couldn't lay on the bed.
couldn't lay on the bed. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? I was like, what?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the same day.
Or I guess more of a...
Okay, we need to move on.
So
we don't need to talk about this.
Oh my
right now.
god.
Anyway, regardless of how Kayla and I were first introduced to each other,
I forgot that's how we got here.
and then somehow we segued into whatever just happened.
I don't think there needs to be ice broken anymore.
No, there still does, at least initially.
Are
but-
you sure?
Let me get through my point, Dave. Well, regardless of how it started, where it is currently, and going over to Allie's for like her birthday and everything like that, I think that's when I was like, we really need to have Kayla on, because I feel like just the openness kind of that like you possess. Because Zeta, that was her episode, but I think just as a characteristic of yourself, I think that's also like a pretty big thing. So that's why we are where we are now. So, but yeah, Thomas.
Yeah. I feel like I can't take like she's not gonna take me seriously, and I know I'm not gonna take her seriously.
When have
too.
I ever taken you
That's
seriously?
the thing. That's why it's gonna be a little bit difficult here.
Ooh.
Well, I will say this because like coming to Charlotte for the first time, you were actually the first person I met at Charlotte ever, which is ironic because like now she's the person that always picks on me and like beats me basically every single time. But like she's the first person I met at Charlotte and was like very welcoming and very sweet, and like that's kind of like the reason why we were looking forward to your episode, because we, like I said, first person I ever met, first person that actually like talked to me a lot and like made me feel comfortable on the team, and just like in Charlotte in general. You're telling me a lot about Charlotte because I don't know anything about here. Like this dude wouldn't tell me anything about it.
You came here. You like literally visited me.
Yeah, but I still didn't know anything.
Surprise. I feel like in certain ways it's better for you to like experience it than to me just like hype it up and you.
Well, originally I was like, yeah, I'm not going to this school ever, so like I didn't really. And
Even
here I am. So, yeah, it was just a great time, and like even like when I first met you, we hung out. Because you at the time when we met you were in Chapel Hill with your aunt, right? So we didn't. I think this was when I was still living in Raleigh, but we never hung out there. We hung out like whenever we were here.
Yeah.
We ate food, and then my first experience. So like one thing I remember very, very vividly was when we had tryout weekend, and it was you and Hallie and like I think a few other people. Y'all came up to me. I think it was me, you, Allie, and I think it was just us three. We were walking to the car, and y'all came up to me. You're like, "Man, I can't believe I got through that." And I looked at y'all like, "What are y'all talking about?" And you guys said, "Yeah, we are like violently hungover from the day before." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
What? That always
That was
it
the day that
always
we were in the
comes
mile.
up. And if Allie is in a story, alcohol is brought up
Yeah,
in some way.
That's what I'm saying. So like they came up to me like we were violently hungover. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And you were like, Yeah, we like celebrated because I think it was someone's birthday beforehand or something like that, or like either.
It was the cheer banquet.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And then we went and hung out with all of like the original team.
Yeah, that's
from
what it
our
was.
freshman year.
So then like, and I didn't know that because like obviously I was new to the team. I wasn't at the banquet, so I was just like, "What are y'all talking about?" Y'all came up to me. Y'all look so dead. I remember like Allie coming up. She was like, she came up to me like this basically because if I was like walking, she was like this. I'm like violently hungover, like that basically. Like, and I remember that to this day.
I can picture that happening.
We had to do a timed mile. So I ran the mile, and I'm already like, first of all, when I woke up that morning, we had stayed at Kaya's house, and so when I woke up that morning, I had to borrow Kaya's pajamas, and I'm in my heels and her pajama pants, and we're walking, and we go to Tropical Smoothie, and it's just Allie and I, and so I go in the bathroom at Tropical Smoothie and puke my guts out.
Oh,
we get the smoothie. We had to be at tryouts at like 2, I think, in the middle of the afternoon on the track. So we get there, and I'm already like, like, you know when you get those cold sweats? So I'm sitting there. I had taken a nap at home. We go back. I ran my mile. I immediately, as soon as I crossed the finish line, sprinted up to the bathroom that's at the top of the stadium and started puking again. And then I came back, and I was like, yeah, that chicken we had at the banquet last night, ooh, that was scary.
No, you know what's crazy? Because like I didn't start my mile time until, because we had to like, it was split up. I came out like 5 or like 4 or 5. I just see you. I remember because you were sitting on the stairs, and I walked out. I was like, "Hey, Kayla," and you're just like, "Hey, Thomas," and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm good." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I just went to run my mile, and then I like talked to like some of the coaches, and then I look up. Kayla's still on the stairs after I ran my mile. She's like, and I walk up. I'm like, "What are you doing here still?" And she was like, "Oh, I think she said I just wanted to hang out with everyone." But I think in her head she was like, "Oh, I can't move right now. I'm still
to be
recovering."
fair, I also had to drive back to Huntersville, and I was going to go back to an empty apartment, so I would rather hang out with the people that I knew.
That's fair.
But I was still violently hungover.
You telling that story makes me think of like if you were sitting on the stairs. You guys know the meme of like the Popeyes employee.
She basically was like that, but it was more like I know how Kayla says. So she sat like this. She sat like her hands in the middle like this.
Ready for anything. Like this was still in the pajama pants.
No,
this was like shorts and like
yeah.
because she just ran the mile.
I think that was like the last year that we didn't have to wear makeup to tryouts, even for like the mile portion, because last year I remember we had to do that. We were running inside, and I had just gotten cleared to run from my foot, and we had to show up in full makeup and hair
to run
the mile.
Why?
Because our coaches are lovely.
Yeah. Is this the same? Okay.
You mean the one that texted me this morning? That
yes,
was?
Sir.
Carry on.
Did you have anything else? Because I was gonna. Okay. Well, thanks. Okay, so as an aside, because in the past, all of our episodes have had kind of like a theme that we go around. Gracie's. What was Gracie's?
What
was Gracie's theme for her episode?
Oh, hers was. I can look. We're such bad hosts.
I mean, it's been like a month since
it has been a month.
It happened, so I honestly don't remember. But,
it was doubt. Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So typically we have kind of like a central idea or like topic that we talk about. For this one in specific, kind of as a litmus test, not that you're our guinea pig or anything, but I promise it's going to go flawlessly. The theme for this one is just who we have here. So in a way, the theme is just like Kayla. So we're just going to talk to you about like stuff about your life.
Wow, it's all about you.
A, that I know.
How's that feel?
A, that I know, and B, stuff that like he's told me that we can talk about. So, so yeah, if this works out, then maybe that's how this season will go. If there's episodes where it just needs to be like Thomas and myself, then maybe we'll just do a certain thing that we're talking about. Because like, if you guys have watched this, we've
thirsty girl.
Did you mute that before you? Okay. Before.
Yeah, that'd be so weird.
If you get, if you guys have listened to it before, I mean, like we're open books pretty much. You guys pretty much already know a lot of. Pretty much know. I'm trying to be so serious right now. You were the one talking about like Akil's not to take it serious. I'm trying to.
I told you. Bro,
stick to the script here, Thomas. Read it.
Cole is it? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, so if this works, we'll continue with it. If it doesn't work, or if you guys hate it, because I always ask for feedback, and then I have to like in person directly ask people for feedback because we don't really get a whole lot of like.
We should put it on like our Instagram thing. Is like feedback from our like. What would you like to see from our podcast thing on like our story?
Yeah, we could do that.
Because when I was taking a doo-doo, I saw you post on the on the like the perspective Instagram saying we're back at it, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot we have an Instagram.
Yeah. So glad. Thanks for that.
Welcome.
But so the first kind of like introductory question that, because we've had plenty of, and we started talking about cheer, and I started wincing a little bit because the cheerleaders we've had on here, you guys are more than just like a cheerleader, but we still talk about cheer for like an hour.
I don't want to talk about it.
So I don't want to talk about cheer, but there's cheer-related topics on here, but as much as we can, I want to try and not talk about cheerleading.
Oh yeah, I feel like
Sounds good to me.
I was about to say I feel like everyone hates us talking about cheerleading too.
It's not like, so because everybody has their own P word, which that's a joke between Thomas and I now. We say the word perspective so much that we just refer to it as the P word now. But the cheerleaders we've had on here, they each have their own like unique story about it, which I'm sure you do as well. But like, again, as it pertains to this episode and maybe ones going forward, if we do have cheerleaders on there, there's like, which what I need your help with is certain stuff about their life that we could talk about that's not just that, because I don't want that to be the like generalization that you guys are like just cheerleaders, because in the process of these episodes coming out, people like realize that that's the case. So the first question, which I could have asked to a lot of the other guests, so my bad, but again, as a test for it, so what made you choose UNC Charlotte or to come here?
So my brother, the reason I knew about it is my oldest brother had graduated from Charlotte in 2020.
Okay.
So that's like how I even knew about it, but I had never considered it. But in high school, I had the most horrible high school experience that I could imagine, and I did not want to go to college with a single person that I went to high school with. And with North Carolina, I feel like it's very common to like stay in North Carolina for college. Like people will go to state, they'll go to Chapel Hill, things like that. That's not common with Florida. Like yes, people will go to in-state schools, but they'll also go everywhere. So I had scholarships to LSU, Ole Miss, Troy, Alabama, like countless schools. Charlotte is the only school that I did not have a scholarship to. But I knew that that was the one for me because I didn't know anyone going there. And when I came and like looked at the campus, I didn't even go on an official tour, but when I came and looked at the campus, I just knew that it was for me. And I have family nearby, so it made it really easy.
So did like coming from myself, like a huge sports fan, like Charlotte, that's the one thing was like I'm sorry, like if any of the athletes are listening, we don't really have like a whole lot to cheer for. Like I'll still go, and especially this year, I'll try and go to more football games and stuff. Like the basketball games and stuff, it's an amazing experience. But like for schools that you mentioned, like LSU and stuff like that, they're like, that's their jam, like sports and stuff like that. So is sports just like not a thing? Like you don't really care if you go to a big sports school or anything? No,
that definitely wasn't like part of my decision. I knew that Charlotte had a really good nursing program, which that's like my main draw, which that's a lie because I didn't even know for sure that I wanted to go into nursing until like 3 weeks ago.
Are you officially doing a nursing now?
Yeah.
Because I know you were talking about like dental school and stuff.
I have an in at my job working in the OR, getting hired as soon as I graduate.
Oh
damn.
I thought, I know when I talked to you like
3
weeks ago, you were talking about dental stuff.
I still have like the dental like prep book and stuff, and maybe like in the future if that's in the cards for me, we'll see. But at least for now, I'm very happy with nursing.
There you go.
So, except I did get peed on twice this week by patients, so that was not
like older,
you got bit. Is that what you
peed
said?
On?
Oh,
like older, younger. Babies.
They were middle aged, but they were unconscious. So we were like turning them because I work in surgery. No, literally, that's exactly how it goes. So I work in surgery, and we're turning them. And one of the big things is that if you're in pre-op, you're supposed to pee before you come back to surgery. That's just like one of the things you do. Well, at the end of the case, like they're usually a minimum, like very, very minimum, like 45-minute cases. I've worked on 9-hour surgeries. So it's anywhere between there. But Yeah, we'll turn him over, and you literally just see this stream going. And so I looked at my instructor the other day, because it was literally yesterday. We turned the patient, and there was pee coming, and I said, oh, God, she is currently peeing. So we had to deal with that.
Did you have to, so like I don't know if this is pre-op because I don't know anything about like doctors or anything, but when you're in like the pre-op room, don't you have to be like sterilized before you go in?
You get like clean. I don't know a whole lot about pre-op because I don't work in pre-op. I work in like the actual surgery, like in the OR. So in pre-op, they'll like clean you. Like if you're having back surgery, which I do a lot of like neurosurgeries. So it's a lot of like spine. They'll like clean the area, but you get officially sterilized when you come into the OR. So you're like asleep when they sterilize you and prep.
So did she pee in pre-op or during op?
I guess not. Well, hers was also an emergency surgery.
Oh.
But she had been in the ER for a couple hours and then got transferred to pre-op and then came.
So how does that work? Like if you get peed on, like while you guys are operating, whatever, do you just
It
have
was just
to like?
on my gloves.
Oh, so but
Don't
was
touch
it
me, I'm sterile.
was it on like the like where you guys were operating too, or is it
No,
like?
well, with the first person that peed this week, it was on like the OR table, and then we flipped to the bed, and so it was on both. So we had to like change. They have, it's called Chuck's pads, and it's like a pad that you put down. You know, like those puppy pee pads.
Yes.
It's essentially like that, but for like hospitals.
Okay.
So you put it on the bed, and it'll catch most of like the urine if someone has like an accident. It's called like an incontinent episode.
So professional.
His went all the way through the Chuck's pad and onto the sheets. So we had to change the sheets and all of this, move him around while he was still unconscious, and clean everything. And you're maintaining dignity while you're doing this because it's like a person. They have no control over this. Yeah. Things like that. So you're trying to keep that in mind while all of this is going on. And then with the most recent one, it was just once they got onto the bed. So all we had to do was change the Chuck's pad and it was fine. And then we cleaned her and made sure that she was like hygienic and everything. And then
I feel like I would be too immature to be in like an OR room or like in the pre-op room.
like I got pooed on or something. But well, okay, nobody enjoys that obviously. Yeah. But that's one of my big things. I hate most things that come with like a medical environment. Like I'm super bad with like recovering from surgeries and everything like that. That environment is just so like, because I'm a hypochondriac, so it's just super like icky to me. Yeah. And like obviously nobody enjoys getting like peed or shat on, but like did you have to like, because that comes with, I guess like training and stuff like that, like the event that's going to happen, you become
desensitized to it. Yeah. So like the first couple of times, I know it sounds weird, but the first couple of times you're like, holy shit, I just got peed on, what the flip is happening?
Good catch.
So like you're like, holy shit, like what's going on?
What the flip? Holy that's funny.
Mother of, anyways, so you're like, wow, like this is real. But then like, I don't know, you see it every single day, all day, every day. So it just becomes part of your daily routine. You have to be able to deal with it, and again, treat them like they're a person, not like it's just an event that's happening.
Yeah.
So I think that that's the biggest thing, because my patients will tell me that I'm very personable. Like I am the one who is sitting there holding their hand while they're going to sleep because they're so scared.
Yeah.
And so I'll sit there, I'll hold their hand, I'll rub their hand while they're falling asleep, and just make sure that they don't feel like alone, because surgery is a scary, scary thing.
Yeah.
I feel like you're the perfect person to have to do that too.
Yeah. See, because like when you talk about you're desensitized to it, in my mind, I would say yes if I was in that position, if that happened on like a daily basis, but especially like if you're just not, like you're prepared for it, but it's not, you don't know what's about to happen.
Right.
So like if you're doing it and you're like, they just peed on me. Like I feel like I would freak out, even though that you guys have kind of been like conditioned to deal with stuff like that.
Yeah, you just figure it out. Like we had blankets nearby, so we just grabbed the blankets and covered her while it was happening, and then once she was finished, we got everything cleaned up and changed.
Do you guys have like, openly, this is a stupid question. I try not to ask as many of these as I can. Is there like a code word for that, or is it just like a
No,
they
you
just
just
peed
deal
on
with
me?
it.
PP. Is the
Like,
code
oh,
word.
yeah.
I turned her over. I'm the one who noticed that she was peeing. We turned her over and I said, she's peeing right now.
Okay. I didn't know if you're like, yeah, we got a leaky fire hydrant on the table or
We got
something.
code yellow.
No. So like again, she was still unconscious. No, again, we maintain their dignity throughout the whole thing. But
Yeah.
like that is something that you need to take care of right away because it can spray and that could be harmful to people around you. So I was like, she's peeing. When we got her back into post-op, into the PACU, to tell the nurse, my instructor said she had an incontinent episode where she emptied her bladder. So if the patient woke up, they're not going to be like, oh my God, I peed on them. That's awful. I feel so bad. The patient's never going to know what happened. It's like in labor and delivery, it's very common for women to have a bowel movement while they're pushing.
Oh yeah, I feel like that's normal.
Women are scared of that. And so they'll say like, I'm so scared that I'm going to poop while I'm pushing. The nurses do not give a shit. They literally will just clean it up. They will,
The patient did, but the nurse
I was about to say, what a play of word.
anyways, the nursing staff will clean it up. The patient will never know what happened. They'll clean it up, throw it out, put a new pad under, and everything continues as normal. It's just you never ever want to make the patient feel uncomfortable if you can help it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, but do you use that verbiage like you say in kind of episode around them, or just amongst your like colleagues and stuff like that? Like, will you say,
colleagues,
huh?
honestly. I'm guessing amongst colleagues only.
Probably amongst colleagues, because if
Yeah.
you're talking like to the patient and you say you had an incontinent
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
they're
You
gonna
probably
be like, "What is
piece
that?"
that together. Yeah. I poop myself.
Shit.
Precisely. But yeah, maybe he's not sensitized to it anymore. But that's really interesting because I never thought about because it was in Game of Thrones too. It's just kind of like a fact of life and everything. Hopefully, death isn't a word that's thrown around super often, at least like in your field or
No.
hopefully in most instances. But like when people die, they like defecate themselves or something, which I didn't know until like a couple years ago, actually.
I knew that when like,
Everything
my high
contracts,
school.
rigor mortis.
Yeah.
Everything gets stiff, including your bowels.
Yeah.
I knew that when I was in like 8th grade, probably like first was it freshman year of high school. Well, it's funny because I met this lady. This is so super random, like kind of similar. This lady I met last year when I was at work in Texas. I met this. She works in the lobby, and she's like the lobby manager or whatever. And like I got to know her pretty well because I was stuck in the lobby for like 2 or 3 hours because my hotel room wasn't booked or something. Like there was a whole mess. So I was out there. I was like getting to know her and talk to her, and she was like really really nice about it. She actually like just gave me a free room basically because I was like talking to her and like was super nice. And she told me she was like a nurse, like a CNA nurse for 15 years, and she said it's a what's the word? She said it was a very rewarding job, but at the same time, it's also like one of the saddest jobs because she said she's gone through and like probably like I think out of her 15 years, 10 patients that passed away, and like that's so unfortunate and so sad to hear. And she was like she said she's gone through it so many times that like you would think that you would get desensitized, but she said she never got desensitized to that.
That is like a different level.
Yeah, I
But
know.
that's also something that you shouldn't be desensitized to.
Yeah, I know.
That is something that
Yeah.
it's a person, they had a family,
Yeah.
they have memories, things happened.
Mm-hmm.
That is not something you should
It
take
was
lightly.
it sucked because she said these are the people that she was like assigned to take care of.
Yeah.
So like that's what made it hard because like she was with these people a lot.
Right.
So and like I was like that's such like and I said even after all that you still think it's like a rewarding job. She said 100%. Like she said I would do it again if I could.
Well, when you compare the amount of people that you helped, even those people that passed, you still helped them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
So you're making a difference in their life. Like I said, hospitals are scary. People don't like being there. So if you can be that comforting face, that changes everyone's perspective. The P word.
Hey.
Roll credits.
And there it is. Okay, so
Roll credits.
sticking on the subject of kind of like not medical affliction, but like just injury, I guess. You know where I'm going with this.
Been there.
Been there, done that.
So this is one
Got
of
the
those things
t-shirt.
where it's
Got the t-shirt.
not. It got. Hold on. What does that mean?
Been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Yeah. What is
You've
that?
never heard that saying?
No.
It's just a saying. Like it's happened so many times.
I've never.
Like,
My
you should get a
surgeons knew me
T-shirt, yeah.
on a first name basis.
Yeah.
Huh.
Didn't they give you like a plushie?
Yeah, that was my first one though.
Oh.
But they put a little cast on the foot and everything so it would match me. But they did that after I came back from the surgery, so it was really cute because I saw the before and after.
That is adorable. Yeah. So this is one of the things where it's like it's cheer related, but we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on cheer. Because you had mentioned to me briefly. I don't know if you remember this at all because we had substance within our system, but. Whoa, that sounded bad. Not drugs.
We're all 21 here.
Yes, we drank.
Heavily.
Because you had mentioned the foot injury that you sustained while you were cheering, and then Thomas.
Actually, it wasn't where she was cheering. She actually fought a bear.
Right.
We'll tell that story then. This is news to me. Fought a bear?
I fought a bear saving a burning orphanage that the president was also in.
Yeah.
And so.
And she tripped and fell.
Yeah, but the bear's okay.
Yeah.
It's in a safe haven.
God, the bear's all right.
Yeah.
She actually saved the bear.
not.
She was fighting the president, actually.
Thomas, we're not supposed to talk about that.
That's off record, Thomas.
sorry.
I was fighting the bear.
Can you imagine helicopters just like showing to the apartment now?
This would be the
helicopters
perfect
take
time.
Thomas into
This would be the perfect time for one of those lawnmowers to drive by.
Dude, okay, but before we started this episode, they're doing, I guess today, of all days, is like the lawn care day for our apartment. So Kayla was telling me a story before Thomas was disappointing us in the bathroom. But some dude in like a lawnmower, and Kayla was like, yeah, so, and I was like, please don't do that during this episode. So hopefully it hasn't been super loud.
Don't worry, I'll be the lawnmower.
You don't need to be. But yeah, so your foot injury, because you had mentioned to me a little bit that, because I think I'd asked you, I think I'd asked you even that, like, if you, because I think you got injured, recovered from the injury, and then you were only on cheer for like a little bit more after that, right?
So I had my foot surgery. I had 2 of them.
Well, okay. So before you start that, what happened
She fought the president and saved a bear.
Okay, what?
No.
The fake thing that happened. What's the?
I broke my foot skipping.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So there's more to it, but I love saying that to get people's reaction. We were warming up for weightlifting. It was the first week of school my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
In classic Thomas fashion, I was late. So.
Yeah. It was a Wednesday morning. It was 6 a.m. Keeps all of that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we're warming up outside of the weight room, and we're doing those skips for height, like the Mario jump kind of skips. I also have a medical condition. It's a ligament disorder. It's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So my bones are flexible and my ligaments are really flexible. So I sprain, tear, dislocate, and hyperextend really, really, really easily.
Ooh.
Not good with cheer.
Yeah.
Not good with really anything.
Yeah. So we were warming up. We were doing the skips for height. I had jumped up, and I guess when I came down, I landed on my toes and twisted. I don't remember that. I just remember hearing and feeling the snap. So I immediately fell to the ground, and I'm like freaking out. Patrick ended up coming in while I'm sitting on the ground crying, and the trainers are trying to like help me hop back to the training room. Patrick ended up coming in and carrying me all the way into the training room and setting me down.
Yeah, and I walked in as she was getting
screaming in pain.
Yeah.
So was there anybody there like when it happened, or was it just
No, the whole team was.
The whole team.
The
just
whole
not
team
Thomas.
and our like trainer except me.
Yeah. Well, no, Jason wasn't there.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like
It was
probably
a student trainer because she put my foot. At the time we thought it was sprained, but she put my foot in this like bag that circulates ice cold water. So it not only is like putting ice on it, but then it also will squeeze and then let go. And so it's like,
I think
whatever.
I've used it before.
You don't want to do that with a broken bone, which I had, but we didn't know. So every time that it would even like start to squeeze, I would start screaming in pain because it's squeezing a broken bone in my foot.
Yeah.
So I ended up having surgery a week later, and they put a screw in my foot. The day I got my stitches out, I slipped and fell in the shower off of my shower chair. So I reopened the stitches, and it just never closed again. So we were at my birthday dinner, and I got a call from my trainer saying that I needed to have surgery again.
Well, this was like a cleanup surgery, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a debridement. So they went in and they just like cleaned everything out and resutured it back together. And then that was it for my foot. When you met me, I had just recovered from wrist surgery.
That's right. Yeah.
And had started cheering again, but I was told I could never tumble again.
I think that's a win in my book.
It was. But then you're also getting looked at by everyone for not tumbling. And people are like, well, why doesn't she have to? Because they never really understand. You can explain it, but...
Some people are just super judgmental.
Well, tumbling is also a thing that, like, you either absolutely love it or you absolutely hate it. Most people hate it. It hurts. So when I was sitting there with my free pass to not tumble, I got a lot of hate for that. Whether it was to my face or other people saying it behind my back.
Yeah. I mean, we had, I'm not going to name names because, she doesn't listen to this anyway, but do you remember in high school, there was one girl that was a captain that she had some sort of injury. Do you know who I'm talking about? That
she was on our team.
Huh?
She knows who that is.
Oh. Never mind. I'll tell you after, but I'm not gonna say that.
She knows who that is.
I forget she goes to the school. That's all.
She did.
But anyway,
That look of terror.
She had an injury that, from like my standpoint, it felt like she was milking it a little bit because she seemed like one of those people that like she wanted to obviously like be there and a part of the process, but like if she was told she could be there but not have to like do a lot of stuff, then like she would probably milk that a little bit.
Well, that was like my thing is I'm the opposite, and Thomas can tell you I would still try to tumble. And like, I don't know if you've ever met Tripp from cheer, the big tall lumberjack looking man.
No.
Okay. Well, I cheered with him my freshman year, and then he moved to a coaching standpoint after. So he was there when I hurt my wrist, and my wrist is the main reason why I couldn't tumble. They told me for over a year that nothing was wrong with my wrist, which was a lie, hence the surgery. But I would still try to tumble. I would literally make myself sick tumbling. I would have mental breakdowns, hysterically crying, and my coach would say nothing. And she would still have me tumble. I would be tumbling. I would do like a back handspring, and immediately you could see my entire face turn completely green, and I would start sweating. And everyone's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then I would keep doing it because I didn't want to let people down.
I remember she came up like every time she would tumble, I would see her like literally wince in pain, and like I would come up and was like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And she's like, "No," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, well."
He would tell me to stop, and I'd say,
I tell her like to stop, but like she can, and I'm like, "You can." I will tell them like personally if you need me to. Like I'll go tell them.
I just never
can't. Isn't like that's what your coach was saying, like keep going, or you wanted to keep going? You
Both.
just like
Both,
okay.
yeah.
Mainly that I wanted to keep going. But that's the same thing. Like in high school, because of my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I was always hurt. It usually was never very severe, but I was always getting hurt. And so people always thought I was making up my injuries. People on our cheer team always thought I was making up my injuries because I didn't get an official diagnosis until a couple months ago. And that was when I had it suspected for 5 years. But still, no one ever believed me.
Well, because don't you have to get like a specialist to like diagnose that? Yeah, I remember you telling me.
I have to go get genetic testing to get it officially confirmed. Right now, it's a suspected diagnosis because I meet all the criteria.
So how far back? Because you said in high school, but like how far back do you think you've like started noticing like, hey, I get injured pretty frequently?
That was vile.
What? I was saying like.
I always try to ask serious questions that Tom's just some weird on the subject.
What?
So-
Scratching my toe?
It had always been like that, but it progressively started getting worse in high school. And it was between my sophomore and junior year that it got so bad that I used to be a cross-country athlete in addition to everything else that I did. And I was supposed to be captain of my cross-country team along with one of my friends. I had to quit cross-country because I had such bad back pain that it sent me to the emergency room like 6 different times. Ooh. They did x-rays on my back. They did MRIs. I went to physical therapy for 8 weeks and absolutely nothing helped. They could not figure out what was wrong. And now I have disc degeneration in my back. But that was when it started really getting bad and just progressively started going downhill.
So in the kind of because this is a super hard thing for me, and people that because I've been fortunate enough to not have like I haven't dealt with like a super severe injury, but I always like to ask people because I think Jade and maybe somebody else, I can't remember. I know Jade went through an injury. Didn't she like tear ACL or something? But I asked her the same question. But like, what's kind of like your like mental process about that? Like, because I know it's very hard and daunting, but like I just would not. Like I would just sit there and be like, well, this isn't going to get better. So like, how do you deal with that?
Oh, I'm still dealing with it to this day. Like it was so bad, especially with. So my wrist happened first, but that's the last surgery that I had. But my foot, I remember the day Jason telling me that I would most likely have to have surgery. I called my mom. After he told me, he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. With tears in my eyes. I went to the bathroom and started hysterically crying and called my mom and said, my trainer said I'm most likely going to need to have surgery.
Yeah.
And that I'm out for 6 months. Which I knew that was most likely going to be my last year cheering. So that was a big deal. It's a lot, and like with me, I used to love going to the gym. Like you could not get me out of it.
I remember.
And this was even before I met you. I was even more dedicated to it. Like I would literally go every single day. I would not take rest days. I would go every single day for a minimum of like 3 hours. I loved it
I remember,
so
yeah.
much.
I remember
Same.
when I talked to her about like, about splits, because like that's kind of like how we kind of bonded too, because I was talking to her about the gym a lot.
And we had the same split.
And we had the same split too. That's why I was like, I've never met anyone with the same split as me. And then I realized, okay, this split is very normal.
It's very common.
It's a very common split that a lot of people around. But like I haven't met anyone that ran that split.
Right.
So I was just like, okay, this is cool.
But that was the hard thing when I broke my foot. Like it was hard with my wrist, but it was really hard with my foot because I could no longer do the same things that I could before. Even when I had recovered, I just didn't want to go to the gym because I couldn't do the same weights that I could do before. And for me, that was like a huge mental challenge that I had used to be able to do. Not that it was so much weight, but for me, it was a lot of weight. And then I could barely even do like the bar after because I was so scared of re-injuring myself that my first surgery was September of 2021. And to this day, I still am not back into the gym.
Well,
like
it's
I would
scary
like.
because like whenever she did work out with me, because she did work out with me a few times. I remember it was before the injury and then during the injury actually, because you had like post-surgery. This is when you went on the scooter. And then for a little bit after, and then like it was just very sporadic.
A lot before the wrist surgery, we would work out and we would do like shoulder presses. My hands would just give out and I'd drop the weight and I couldn't feel it. So that was terrifying and it made me not want to work out because I knew it was getting worse.
The one time I do remember was when we were working out back and we were doing the lat row machine, the thing next to like by the benches. And I remember you rode and then you said, oh, I think my shoulder just dislocated. I said, what? And she was like, hold on. All right, I'm good. I'm like,
you can hear it like snap back into place. You can see it snap back into place.
and then I'm like, okay, don't do it anymore. And then she's like, no, I can do a few more. I said, no.
Yeah, I was like, I got to finish my set.
I was like, no, you just dislocated your shoulder. But like the thing is like, this is where like I'm kind of like, I was low-key like desensitized. Not really. I was just like, she knows herself better than I do. So I was like, I mean, do whatever you need to do, but like don't push yourself. Like that's why I felt like like a dad with like a 2-year-old daughter, making sure like they don't hurt themselves. I was kind of like that whenever I worked out with her. I was just like, okay, just be careful. Like I was very scared every time I worked out with her, like especially shoulder presses or like bench press. I was like,
yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But that was also the hard part is because I loved working out with you, but it'd also be hard because one of the reasons I loved working out with you is because you'd always push me to do more. Mm-hmm. But then there were times where I just physically could not do more.
Yeah.
And it was hard to be able to communicate that to you because
Yeah, at
I
the
also
gym.
am very lazy. So it's hard for him to figure out the difference, but surprisingly.
Yeah,
It's
in
hard
the
for
gym.
him.
It's kind
That
of.
almost doesn't even sound real.
Now after all the injuries. So it was hard for him to figure out what was me trying to like get out of a workout because I didn't really want to do it versus what I
Yeah.
could not do.
Yeah. So like I had to like, that's why I felt like I scared dad because I'm like, I don't know which one is which like I don't know if you actually hurt or you just didn't want to, because she would actually like during this set complain like, I don't want to do this set. I'm like, well,
but it's usually, that was how you could tell, is it would be me saying, no, I've already done 12 reps as I'm on rep 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Versus me sitting there wincing and shaking and like dropping the weight or telling him, come grab this right now.
Yeah, there's a difference. Like there was one time like we were doing, I think, Cedar Rose again. I walked away to get water, and like I can calculate in my brain like if she does it right, how long it takes her. I got back, she's already on her phone. I'm like, I wasn't even gone for like not even 10 seconds. I went to get a sip of water. I said, did you do 12 reps? She said, yeah. I said, how many did you actually do? She said, I did 4. I said, bitch, get the fuck back on there. You're doing 8 more.
3, 6.
That's 12. All right, cool. I said, what the fuck?
See, but what people don't realize, and that's I could do like supersets of that stuff. Is like the Instagram raises on your phone. Where you're just like,
thank you.
See,
I hate y'all.
But that's really interesting because but to me that's like a legitimate reason, because if you're like, okay, if you want to like throw in maybe like laziness in there too, but that's like if you can't do as much as you were able to before, then like that's a real reason to.
But now I just don't go at all, which is a problem because I know I need to get back into it, and part of me wants to, but the other part, like, I'm like, oh well, it's gonna be hard. I don't want to do it because it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
That is not who I used to be. I used to love doing things that were like challenging and pushing myself. And so I'm trying to get back into that, but it's also when people tell me that I need to get back into it, it immediately makes me not want to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like
when people are like, you need to go work out, and I'm like, why? What are you saying?
What makes you say that? Yeah.
No, it's like you know how like
doing the dishes.
Home, exactly. Like when you're about to go do the dishes, and your mom tells you go do the dishes, and like now you don't want to do the dishes. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. Like, all right, I'm gonna get back in the gym. Oh, you need to go back in the gym. The fuck you mean? I need to go back in the gym.
Literally.
And this is when you said this the other day, that hurt my heart, because what was the other day? I think it was at Allie's. You're like, oh, you in a bulk? Like, you looking bigger. I'm sitting here like...
That was not me saying that.
Okay, maybe it was someone else.
I would not have said that.
Someone said that.
I am very conscious. Yeah, I am very conscious about saying things about other people's bodies. That is a no-no.
Someone said it to me. I was sitting here like, I'm going to cut, but thanks, I guess.
Hey, man, you put on some weight.
I'm like, fuck me. What do you mean? I've been on calorie deficit for 4 weeks now. What do you mean? Yeah, that hurts. That hurts my soul a little bit. That's why I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't even do this anymore.
That was not me.
Well, in a way that's kind of a good segue into like the next thing that I want to talk about, because with injury and also like I think even like your major too, from like what Thomas just told me, it seems like a lot has, at least somewhat recently, and I'll say recently within the past like 5-6 years, maybe even the past like year, whatever. It seems like a lot has changed. And like, especially with your whole, when you said you were super dedicated going to the gym and that was just like a big part of your life, and then because of like your diagnosis now you can't really do that anymore. Are you just kind of like, how do you deal with that? And are you just kind of like used to it at this point, that you're always like thinking that stuff's just constantly going to be changing for you?
Pretty much. I mean, like even in high school, I was used to always being overwhelmed. I was used to doing a minimum of 2 sports at a time. Damn. And then I was taking AP classes. I was in a bunch of clubs. Like anything you can imagine, I was trying to do. So I'm used to being overwhelmed. And that's just kind of how I function. It stresses me out, but I perform better under stress. So that has been one of the things. That's one of the reasons I thought that I'd be able to cheer and do nursing at the same time. I was sorely mistaken. But, I mean, it's just something you live and you learn. You adapt. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how, like I said, I want to get back into the gym. So I'm, like, slowly trying to incorporate that back into my day-to-day, even if it's not day-to-day, like my weekly schedule and things like that. But
she's also very good about, like, I'm going to say this because I'm not like good at time managing, especially because the one thing that I remember, I was on the phone with her, I think this was before Allie's birthday. And this was like, the school year hasn't even ended, right? She was talking to me. She was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go read my textbook now. I was like, for what? Like your finals? So she was like, I was like, she was
just
like,
for fun.
No, I said, for what? And she was like, oh, my summer classes. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? She said, oh, I want like a head start I want to like start reading my textbooks.
No,
so
this was not for my summer classes. This was for this coming fall.
Oh,
semester.
yeah, for fall.
So what's kind
even
of for
worse?
fun?
Like even worse. Like
Get a jump start on.
Yeah, I'm like, I get it because it gets a lot of like material to take in. So, but like I'm sitting here like we haven't even finished the school year yet, and you're already like jumping ahead.
It's
up
also
for the next
hard
school year.
because, like, with the way that I look, people automatically make judgments about me. So, like, with nursing, people assume that I'm stupid. I'll come out of exams and people will be like, "Oh, what did you get?" And I'll tell them, and they're like, "You scored
Really?
higher than me." And I'm like,
People think you're stupid.
Yes. I make good grades. I study all the time.
I know. That's why I don't.
So it
that's why I
pisses me
don't
off
think you're stupid.
that people just make that assumption about me and they just think that I'm dumb. So I do anything I can to prove that I'm not. But at this point, I've just kind of stopped caring what other people think.
That'd be a
Well,
good idea.
to an extent. But like, I've stopped telling people the scores that I make. I've stopped like. It's not about them. It's about me. It's about what I can do.
It's you versus you. So
Exactly.
it's funny because I think you told me either it's a story or someone else told me a story that's similar to that. Because like I sit in class, I think people think I'm smart, but in reality I'm actually stupid. And then I guess like some other people think like you sit there looking stupid, but you're actually smart. I think people just look at you stupidly, I guess. That doesn't make sense. I can see you like this I will say like I can kind of see. I can see you asking like a question that's like sophisticated, but you ask it in like a stupid way that doesn't make sense. So people think you're stupid, but like I know because I've talked to you, I know what you're trying to say.
Right.
So like it doesn't seem stupid to me. That's like, you know how like whenever I ask you questions, you're like, that didn't make any fucking sense, but you understood that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I was gonna say something else, but yeah.
what say it.
Well, like a lot of the times, the question just makes no sense, and I also can't understand what you're saying.
All right.
But like, that's interesting that you say that though, because I have a couple friends that are like nursing majors that I've heard about it, and like all of them are like super smart, and I've never taken nurses. I mean, I don't. You would obviously know better than I do, but I take nursing majors for like you guys have like a bunch to study for, so I feel like that work ethic kind of like translates over into other stuff.
Yeah.
Because like okay, Lauren for instance, like she
She
is or
dropped
what?
She dropped out of nursing.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hi, Lauren. But like when she was a nursing major, she would study like all the time, or would be like, "Hey, do you want to like go do this?" Or I was like, "Oh no, I have like a huge test tomorrow to study for."
Well, I think Mo graduated with nursing.
She did.
She did, right? Yeah. Yeah, I forgot you do know Mo.
And
I love Mo.
Probably the same thing, right? Like she's super smart too. So like that's interesting to me. Like I haven't heard that. That's like y'all
Well,
thought it was stupid or something.
It's because nursing itself is so competitive that like people outside of nursing sure probably think I'm smart. My roommates think that I'm brilliant. Because like, well, they'll
Funny
ask
because
me,
like I don't see that side all the time. You're brilliant, and then you're over here like.
well, they'll like say a retort. Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm smart. I'm not like, I know that I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I know that for the most part I'm not dumb.
Oh yeah.
And so like my roommates will ask a question rhetorically, and I'll give them the answer, and they're like, "How did you know that?" And I'm like, "I know things. Like I'm not dumb."
Yeah.
But like with nursing, it's so competitive, so people are always trying to think of like who is better than who. So I think that's where it comes in that like, yeah, I'm a blonde, I cheered, so what? I'm not supposed to be smart. You're colorblind,
I
Thomas.
was about to say I see like a lot of more brown.
Your hair's
than-
orange to me.
So
It's like brown. I don't know. It hurts my head.
it just like, it's annoying and it's frustrating, and it makes me doubt myself when other people think those things. And like even my own boyfriend, he knows that I'm smart, but like we'll watch, have you heard of House, the TV show?
Oh yeah, I love House.
So we'll watch House, and I will sit there and I'll explain what is going on because it's like medical and I know most of what's going on in the show. And he's like, "Holy shit, I didn't realize you're so smart." And I'm like, I'm not
Thanks,
dumb.
babe.
Like you ask me these
Thanks,
questions.
guy.
Well, like that's the other thing is he'll sit there and like he's the one that I go to when I'm feeling like this. I'm like, I feel like I'm so dumb. He's like, "Kayla, you are brilliant. Like you know so much more than you think you do."
Yeah.
But then at the same
He's
time,
also the guy that's
he's
like-
also surprised, and he's like, "How did you know that?" And I'm like, "Because I study all the time. Because I love learning. Because that's just who I am."
I think it's definitely like depending on like what side you see, because like school Kayla, in my opinion, versus actual Kayla are like two
Oh, I'm incredibly like goofy, and
That's what I'm saying.
I love acting like a child sometimes.
Yeah, so like I think that's why people think you're like
Yeah.
stupid, but like you're not,
But
because
it's when
like you think
people-
I'm a child and you think I'm a child. It's
When
the same
people
thing as
can't
you.
get past that idea,
Yeah.
that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's why I kind of because I know what you feel. I know like how you feel because sometimes I sit here I'm like, guys, I'm like not actually dumb. I am stupid sometimes, but like I'm not actually like, duh, like. See, you see what I mean? Hey now.
I digress.
Hey now.
Well, no, okay, but also at the same time, too, though, like you'll have your moments too where we'll be watching something or whatever, and then because you're a psych major, you'll be like, oh, that reminds me of like something that we learned about, because those kinds of people, like you guys, I feel like I would put in that category is, well, maybe less you, but you guys, I would put in that category where it's like. You're super dedicated. Stick with me on this so that you know where I'm going.
Should I?
Yes, because you'll agree with me once we get through. Super dedicated to like to the books and the studying and the classes and everything like that. Again, that's where he's just kind of cut off on that one. But did you go to class
Today? What? Did I
Not
have
today.
class? What? Last
this
semester?
past semester? I was like,
Oh, no,
It's just-
no.
you'd be eating breakfast. I'm like, or I come back from class and I just woke up. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but sometimes I come back from class and you did the same thing with me.
Anyway, so, but like I love those people that it's like they're super dedicated and stuff like that. But then also when it's time for fun, it's just like completely switches. And like you're not always like if we're out doing something or whatever. Like hopefully tomorrow we're out doing something. Like oh man, like quiz coming up. I gotta go home and study for it.
I mean, she
Yeah,
will do that.
I
Like,
will.
If
I
But
mean, if
it's
it's during the
also-
school year, that's different though. Too.
It's also that I'm not. This is something else that surprises a lot of people. I am not a social person. I can talk to people.
I don't. I don't.
I can.
no,
talk
she
to
likes to talk to people, but she also doesn't want to socialize.
No, it's not really that I like it. I like talking to my people. Like I like
Maybe
talking
that's
to
what
you
it
guys.
is.
Yeah, I like talking to you guys. That's why you guys know me better like that. But I would more than almost anything, I would rather be at home. I would rather
Yeah.
be like with Guy. My boyfriend's name is Guy.
A guy.
Yeah, Guy. His name is Guy.
Yeah.
Guy.
Guy.
Oh, I thought you said I. I was like, isn't that Guy then?
No. So anyways.
Again. Yeah. You're saying.
So
Sorry, guys.
I like staying at home. Like talking to people stresses me out. I have social anxiety. Again, I can do it. I can pull it off where you would think that I'm an extrovert, but I'm not. I don't ever go out. You will almost never see me go out. If I go out, it is with like my super close friends, and we're out for like an hour, 2 hours, and I'm exhausted. When I go home, I sleep all day after that. After this, I'm probably gonna go to the grocery store and pass out after. But
Sounds about right.
like, don't get me wrong, I love talking to you guys, but it just takes a
It's
lot
draining.
out of me.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I have a very low social battery.
See, I'm the terminology. You were right here on this because I was talking to Allie about this recently because I think she sent me like a TikTok or something about it that when I choose to be, I'm like pretty social, even if it's like somebody that I'm meeting for the first time. I'll try to be like cordial and like fun and everything to make it not seem like I'm like a loser or something. If they think that, then I can't help it. But like I'm a lot more like socially selective than I am because there was like he can vouch for this. There was a time like in high school or middle school that was just like damn near introverted. Like I just did not want to go out and do anything. Where now I'm like more inclined to do so, but it's like very selective.
Right.
Like if we go out and do something for like 2-3 hours or whatever, like and then if they're like, hey, let's go out and do this too, I'm like, well,
Look at the time.
Yeah, like I just
Oh shit! It's 7:30 past my Minecraft time.
that makes me sound like a loser.
That is my bedtime.
But yeah, like
7:30?
I am in bed at 7:30, asleep by 8:30.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I
you
also have
also
to be-
wake up early.
I have to
That's
be up at
different,
5 a.m.
Yeah, that's different.
interesting.
Well, you have 3 hours, so.
Go to bed at 5.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, because Allie, one of Allie's like childhood friends, Elizabeth, she's like the same way as me, and like when, or no, wait, no, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
Dirt.
You might not have been there mentally.
I wasn't.
Yeah, we can tell that story too in a second. You were part of the reason though. That's the
I'm a
case.
good bartender.
But like Elizabeth was talking. Do you remember? Yeah. So she was talking about how she shut up. How like her social battery is like dead after like only a couple hours, and I feel the same way. I didn't get that from you really, but to hear about that, okay.
I'm good at faking it because that's also I'm a big people pleaser. I don't want people to feel like oh like she's ready to go home. She's bored with me. I don't want to make people feel like that. And it's not that I get bored of people. It's just I get exhausted. And like I'm also an overthinker. So I think of like every single thing that's possible, and usually it's like the worst case scenario, and I think of like how other people are interpreting what I'm saying. Like I'm gonna go home after this and think about everything that I said, and I'm like, holy shit, like how did they perceive that? How did I come across? Like, did I make a fool of myself? And I know that most of the time the answer is yes. No. Yes. But at least in my eyes, I think that I did. And to other people, maybe not, but like it stresses me out and it makes me not want to go out again. But then it's also being busy. I don't have the time to go out.
Yeah.
And just the lack of wanting to go.
That's fair.
Does she remind you of anybody?
Scarlett Johansson.
You?
Yeah. Like I feel like I'm talking to myself because like everything you just said is like how I would characterize myself, like in a lot of that, where it's just. I could definitely go out and have the time to do something, but sometimes I just do not feel like it. And like, this isn't like a shot on you, but there's just conversations that we've had, which is a great setup to what I'm about to say.
Wow.
No, but like you'll
don't take this offensively, but offensively.
No,
Thomas
but like,
is just under fire today.
No, he'll agree with me on this one.
Will I?
Yes, I feel like people like Thomas sometimes don't really like empathize with that or understand that sometimes because it's like, well, you haven't done anything today. Like you can go out and like we can all have fun with each other. But there's days too where I'm just like, we've talked about this.
Wait, repeat that again. That didn't make sense in my head.
With like your close friends, like if I lay in bed all day and you're trying to get me to go out that night, you're like, well, you haven't done anything. You'll be fine to go out and try to convince us.
Or like, yeah, we haven't hung out with anybody in a few days.
I understand that, but like sometimes I'm also that guy where I'm just like, I don't feel like going out. It really depends, but I know what you mean.
More recently, yes. But like in the past, it's been very like, well, that's odd. Like we haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's also one of the reasons why, like, not that I'm a flake, but like, I'm kind of a flake. Not if it's something important, but like, that's one of the reasons I asked Allie on Monday morning if she wanted to go get drinks that night. And so we made plans to go that night. It didn't end up working out. So then we had made plans to go Friday. I told the people that I worked with, I was like, I'm scared because I want to go out tonight. And I know that, like, I want to go out Friday. But is Friday Kayla going to want to go out? It's going to be like half an hour before. And I'm going to be like, oh, shit, I don't really, like, I know that it'd be fun, but it's also a lot of energy to go out, and I don't know if I really want to do that.
Because like me and him had this conversation. I've seen like videos and like Instagram things. It's like when you make plans when you're extroverted, but then when it comes day, your introverted self like don't want to do it.
But it could also be like Monday. I told the people that I worked with I was making those plans Monday morning, and we were going to go Monday night. I was like, I don't even know if I'll want to go Monday, like tonight, because.
You know how I feel, yeah.
Exactly. And then I always feel bad for saying, like, yeah, I don't think I can make it or, like, whatever. But usually I end up going and I have a good time. But it's also stressful as hell for me.
See, but, like, are you indifferent? Because there's, in a certain way, I kind of like it when people, that sounds so weird. But, like, if I do that exact same thing, where like tonight I was like, hey, let's all go out and do something, and then the time comes, I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. Would you like more if people were to be like, no, come on, like let's go, and then kind of like not out of your comfort zone, but you still end up going anyway, or you just kind of like, no, I'm not going out tonight, kind of?
I think it depends. I think I usually would like them to try because it makes me feel like I'm wanted, and like that's one of the things that I struggle with is I feel like I'm a burden, or I feel like I'm like someone that, you know, I didn't really want to have them come, but like cool if they come. So when they're like saying like, no, you should come, then that makes me feel a little more comfortable. But if it's like I have an actual reason I don't want to go, then I guess I'll just tell them at that point, I'm like, I really don't think tonight's going to work. Like maybe we can reschedule or something like that. But I guess I do want that like encouragement usually.
Yeah.
Want some
To an
encouragement?
extent.
Here's a drink.
Yeah.
To an extent. If they're like trying to make you feel bad about not coming,
Yeah.
That's where it kind of crosses the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least that initial, like, no, come on, it'll be fun. But if you're still
Right.
like, I'm not going to do it, then I'll be like, all right, fine. That's
Right.
We're not mad, but
Yeah.
obviously it'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else? I had like a couple more questions, but was there anything that came to mind for you? If you say no, I might hit you with the mic. But you've been
That's not the encouragement I want right there.
you've been doing good so far, but like if there had been anything, I just give you a compliment.
Oh, I thought you said you weren't doing good.
no,
so
I
far.
said you have been doing good so far, but
No, I'm good.
okay. Okay, so what were you about to say something?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard a noise cover.
No, I was like,
So in kind of like the talk about in the talk about a lot's going on right now, in the talk of just kind of like social battery, recovering from injury, all kind of stuff like that. What makes you happy, Kayla? Like, what do you do in your free time to kind of like distract yourself, I guess, from a lot of this stuff?
TV shows.
That is true. I do like watching TV. Right now I've been watching Burn Notice. Rewatching. I've seen it before.
I haven't heard of that.
Oh, it's so good. It's an old TV show. Old. It came out in like the early 2000s, but you can tell that it's like an early 2000s show. It's on Hulu. It's about this spy. He's in the CIA and he gets burned. So that essentially means like you're fired from the CIA. They blacklist you, so you can't get any job. They ruin your, like, freeze all your credit cards and everything.
Oh, damn.
Like, there's people coming after him. He's trying to figure out why he got burned. And he's doing like these little side jobs on the way. It's a really good show. I love it. So I like watching that.
You ever finished Westworld?
No.
My parents are a big fan of that show. They liked it.
Guy and I were for a while, but it started getting too redundant. And then
sounds
we
about
kind of
right.
like, he has a tendency to look up what happens.
Oh.
So it was what we had predicted. And so we were like, we don't really need to watch
That's
it anymore.
fair. I only watched it for 3 hours.
You watch Westworld?
Did you watch it though?
Oh yeah, I told you about
Westworld. Oh,
that. Yeah,
I was
do you
gonna say
remember?
it was on.
I watched it. I'll tell you
Is
about
this
the story
another-
later.
He didn't watch it
Yeah.
alone.
That's what I thought. Okay.
But
It
I
wasn't
actually
me.
did watch it. This is the thing. That's the funny part.
So, anyways, I love watching Burn Notice. Guy and I will watch House. I love to cook and I love to bake. I love reading. I love talking to my mom. She's my best friend.
Mama Seibert.
Yeah.
Is she gonna come visit soon?
I hope so.
Because she's all the way in New Mexico now, right?
New Mexico, just for vacation.
Military.
that's where they
They
live.
live there. My dad only has a year left and then he's going to retire. And I'm trying to convince them to move out to like the Greensboro area.
Oh, really?
My mom is so down for it. My dad, it just depends on like what kind of job he gets after. Because he's
What
going to retire.
benefits does he get after retirement?
Because he's retiring at 30 years, he's getting like
Damn.
75% of his pay.
That's really good.
What
I
branch?
think Air Force.
Ooh.
That's the best benefits too. That's crazy.
Well, he's also a colonel.
Damn, I
They-
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Free college.
Did you look at like
Not really.
Do you watch any like the Gordon Ramsay stuff? Kind of like a mix of your TV shows and your like love for cooking and stuff.
Yes and no. I used to watch a lot of it. Growing up, like I would watch it with my parents. That was like our family show. We would watch like Chopped and
Yeah.
American. What was it called? Iron Chef. Cutthroat Kitchen is a really good one if you haven't seen it.
What's Gordon Ramsay's thing? Kitchen what?
Kitchen Nightmares is like my favorite.
That's one of my favorites.
My
too.
sister and I love that series.
It's okay. I think for me, it's a little bit too much drama. I would
I can
rather
see
focus
that.
on like actually like the cooking part.
Yeah.
But I love watching like TikToks of people cooking, and my Pinterest board is filled with food and all this stuff that I want to make. And
I have some like food that like the only food you see that I have on there is safe for cutting. I'm just like, oh, this is high protein, low calories food right here.
Yeah.
That I don't make.
anyways,
I think the like the.
Womp womp.
I mean, just
You should tell her.
All right.
Do you like? I asked this question knowing the answer, but like when you go on any of these like cheer camps or whatever, do you promote
Oh, no.
Like the podcast. You should start doing that.
I just started doing that.
Just bring like some stickers and be like, hey, or like a flyer. Hey, by the way, like we're friends now. Here's a podcast.
So instead of warm-up music today, we're actually going to listen to my podcast.
And intro music.
First thing you hear, fuck! And all the kids are like, what the hell?
Oh, you try to teach a bunch of little kids, and they're like, Mr. Thomas, what is that word that you just said?
Bro, I've cursed around the UCA kids before. Like, as a UCA staffer, I'm not supposed to, but I definitely have by accident. There was one
and
time...
this is the story of how Thomas got
I
fired.
was going to say, yeah, you probably shouldn't admit that. Not that anybody's going to like...
It's not, like, care, because, like, the people that I work with know that. Like, one time I accidentally... I was walking around because, like, you know how the kids are all spread out and they're, like, doing motions or whatever. So, like, they're doing motions. And in my head, I usually keep track of, like, the motions are next. So I, like, make sure I don't get smacked. But, like, I wasn't paying attention for the motions that time. And, like, a kid, like, swung their hand by my face. I said, oh, fuck. I said that. I said that kind of loud. And I was like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. And the kids just started laughing. I'm just like, yeah. Like, the kids, these are high schoolers. So, like,
they know you're human.
Yeah, I was about to say, these kids are high schoolers and they know I'm human. Like, they don't really care.
I'm super self-conscious about that because, like, when at my job, if I'm, like, talking to my coworkers and, like, a word will slip out or whatever, there'll be, like, a kid that walk right behind me. And I'm like, oh, and, like, their parent, like, they won't look at me or whatever, but I feel so bad, like, if they don't know what that is. And they're like,
it's kind of different because, like, with high schoolers, I don't really care that much because high schoolers, you know, they
I'm
curse.
talking about, like, 5 and 6
Yeah,
year olds or
that's
something.
different. Like, that's why, like, whenever I'm with, like, when I was with Allie's family, I don't curse around Junie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because
I would hope not.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't do that. Like, Junie can pick up words really fast. So, like,
Jenny, what's up, mother?
what's good? Like,
Judy, your mom's a bitch.
Mama ain't raised no bitch today. Like, no, I'm not gonna say that.
Stop crying like a little bitch.
But, like, yeah, Junie picks up words pretty fast because, like, I taught her a few, like, well, I didn't teach her a few words, but, like, she kept saying a lot of words. Like, she said, like, water. She said she can't say milk, so she does this for, like,
Sign language.
yeah. So she knows how to sign language, which is the craziest part to me.
She just hit you with that one
Fuck
day.
you.
No, she says this, and then she says this whenever she's, like, full, and if she's done, she does this.
My niece did that, yeah.
And then, what else does she do? This for more. For, like, whenever she's hungry. She does this for a lot of things, not with just food. Like, let's say if, like, I push her around, she does this more. And I'm sitting there like, what do you want more of? I'm like, oh, you want to get pushed into the street. Gotcha.
That one...
I was pushing her in a car.
So
okay.
I am never allowing my kids near you.
Okay. If
Uncle
you
Thomas is not
look. If you ask
You
Allie,
just said you were going to push her into
I
the
was
street.
joking. Okay, they live in a cul-de-sac, so, like, there's no cars really going there. First, hold on.
That's your defense.
I was joking. Look. If you ask Allie and her sister, they can both vouch that I'm a good manny.
Not anymore.
What do you mean?
You're not getting invited back to
Once
the crib.
this episode drops.
I'm a good manny.
And all the alcohol.
That was 2 times, okay?
2 times more than it should have been. So anyways.
I'm a good manny.
My quick little side story. My niece is like, I say this because I'm their uncle, but also just because, like, it's true, and I feel like if you looked at it from an outside P word, you'd probably agree. Mm-hmm. They're, like, so smart. Like,
Penis.
my youngest niece, she has a habit now of, like, what just happened? What did I miss?
You said outside P word, and she said penis.
But it was like a 3-second delay.
Uh,
Anyways, sorry.
No, she'll start crying about something that gets.
Outside V word.
Penis.
She'll start crying about. Kayla, son of a bitch.
Yeah, you are.
Oh my God! Keep going. Don't worry about me.
She'll start crying about something and get super upset. Like her older sister, they were like, because sharing is still an issue between them. So, like, she started crying about that, and then as soon as my sister, her mom, was like, said that if you're not gonna do that, you're not gonna get, like, snack or whatever to her older sister, she just, like, went to smiling. Like, as soon as she knew that she was getting, like, scolded, and I was like, you're a psychopath. Like, it's funny because I did that. I remember, like, vividly, I did that to my sister, like, years and years and years ago. where like we're like roughhousing or whatever, and I got hurt, and my mom was like, "All right, you're gonna be grounded." I just like switched to a smile, and she's like, "Look, he just started smiling." So, but,
no, didn't you say your sisters are like super sophisticated too? Because I think you remember, was it Penelope? Was asking like, can we go outside and play? And then
that was Piper. So like
Piper?
Piper will like rationalize a bunch of stuff. So it's like, can we go out and play? And I'll just make something up that like a kid would just be like, oh, okay, and just like get discouraged. But then she'll like argue with me like why that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, you're 6. Why are you like? She's 8 now, but I was like, bro, you're 6. You shouldn't be having these kinds of conversations. It's like, what are you guys teaching these kids? I need to be able to be like, no, I'm tired. I'm like,
no, you said. I think I remember it was something about like, can we go outside and play? And you were like, no, you made up something. And you said like your mom wasn't home or something like that. And she was like, oh, is it because it's wet outside? Like you don't want me to get sick? And I remember you told me about that.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's too wet outside. Like we'll slip or whatever. She's like, oh, I'll just put my boots on. Or like you can hold my hand. And I'm like, okay, like sure, I guess. But yeah, she's really smart, and it creeps me out sometimes.
Very.
Yo,
what's good?
Up? But yeah, so nieces and such like that are fun. Yeah, you're probably not invited to watch them anymore. Now you're gonna talk about pushing them in streets and stuff.
I wasn't actually. I was pushing her in a car. I was with her in the car, like in the cul-de-sac. I was pushing her around. That's all I was doing. I didn't actually like push her in the street, but like good luck. Like
let's see how far you can go without me holding on to the.
Not that he'd admit to it.
I didn't do it. I was joking.
No witnesses.
The only person I did that to was Zeus. Her little dog. No, I was joking. Too.
Who?
Her little dog. Like Alexis's little dog.
She's a dog? Oh.
It's like haven't you seen her dog? Because Allie's pet said Zeus before. The little small dog. No, maybe not. I didn't actually push Zeus.
There is no dog.
There is a dog.
There was never a dog.
Y'all calling me schizophrenic now? Is that what I'm hearing?
I had one last question, and it's super random. And again, I'll extend an olive branch to you if you had anything else that you wanted to talk about at all.
Squidward.
Okay. Where did buddy come from?
Buddy?
Because I've noticed you call people buddy sometimes. Is that like a thing? Do you know that about yourself, or did I just like open your eyes to something?
That opened my eyes, but it's also funny because one of my first experiences with Guy, my boyfriend, that made me realize he liked me is he got so pissed off. We were Snapchatting.
Oh yeah, I do know that story.
We were Snapchatting before this is not the sayonara story.
Oh, never mind then.
We were Snapchatting before we had ever met in person. Well, we had met, but like before we ever really hung out. And I called him Bud. I was like, sorry, Bud. And he flipped his shit. He's like, Bud? Bud? You're calling me Bud? And I was like, well, what do you want me to call you? And like, whatever. But I think that Buddy is just like, I'm trying to think. Growing up, if I would say something that was like maybe not the brightest, my mom would look at me and she'd go, you're so pretty. So I think that... So, how does that fucking correlate? What the fuck? So I think that Buddy is just like my kind of version of that. When I'm saying it to a guy, I'm like, oh, Buddy.
Oh, again? So you hear that a lot?
I do actually.
Oh, that's funny.
Thomas is probably the number one person I say it to. I didn't even realize I said it that often.
Well, you said it to him, and he like brought it up to me. I was like, I think that's just her way of saying
No, you don't like. I think when I've talked to you, you've only said it like twice, but like I don't know anybody else that says like buddy.
Or I'll be like, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Like that's like my happy, cheerful greeting.
Because like the way that I took it, so I told Thomas like the first time that you said it to me, I was like, does Kayla hate me? Because she called me buddy. Because I think we were leaving Joe's or whatever, and like I had your jacket, I gave your jacket back. You're like, oh, thanks, buddy, and I'm like, buddy.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
No. It's like a handshake, and you're like, thanks, buddy. Buddy.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah. You like look at my hands. Oh my god. It's like the. Oh no, we're not gonna talk about that. But, I'll tell you later.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun because actually, coincidentally enough, yesterday one of my coworkers like I like went up and handed them something, and she said, "Oh, thanks, buddy." Like as I was walking away, I just kind of like looked at them. As
like Kayla in disguise.
I was like, Kayla's episode is tomorrow, don't you? I thought that was really funny. So
Yeah. I've never made that connection.
Yeah, you do say it like.
I know I say it a lot to you.
Don't stop now. I don't bring that up for you to be like, and then you like catch yourself. But I think it's
this is the most insulting one when she says buddy. Like what if I say something and it's not like
buddy.
Yeah, that's like
that's different though.
Or like she says like buddy really loud, like buddy. Like that's just like it's
the
just
disapproval.
insulting. Yeah.
It's the disapproval. You're like, buddy.
Yeah, that's insulting. Because the last time I heard that was at like Allie's pregame going to Coyote Joe's, and I'm just sitting there like, what did I do? Like what?
I can totally see that though. Like you're so pretty, oh buddy.
I'm also sometimes kind of a little mean, and I just like getting in people's heads.
Yeah.
Word.
But like,
okay,
it's entertaining. But
you're a sadistic motherfucker over here.
For the most part, well, you also know that I'm like one of the people that you can turn to. For
anything. I know.
So it's like one of those like
funny.
I'm gonna mess with you, but you know it comes from a good place.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. Wow.
She looked at the camera like.
The Jim phase from The Office. Yeah. Okay. Because tone of voice is definitely like a factor in that.
Right.
You're, oh, buddy.
And
then like
that head tilt. Buddy.
Yeah. Even that, I didn't even do anything. That made me feel like
that's the thing is, that's so familiar. Like I see that pretty often.
But again, that's also the way I greet you most of the time. I go, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah, that's different. As opposed to like, oh, buddy.
Yeah, but then when she says it, like, "Hey, Cole," I'm like, "Oh, okay."
It was
I'm a 4-year-old child, is what I hear.
Well, Thomas, I've also known you for what 2.5 years. 2 years.
That's true. So. Sorry, buddy.
Buddy.
It's like you've like mastered it at that point because you didn't even do anything wrong, and it's still.
I'm also the youngest child and the only girl, so
Oh.
I've got a way of manipulating.
Scary.
Get those puppy eyes.
Keep that in mind.
Mommy. Like.
Oh, I'm the favorite child. Like, no. So, my dad does not try to hide. Again, I'm the youngest and the only girl.
Of how many?
3.
Oh, okay.
I have 2 older brothers. My dad doesn't try to hide it. I'll be like, I'm the favorite, and he's like,
yeah.
and like my brothers, I'll say I'm dad's favorite, and they're like, we know. With my mom, 9 times out of 10, I'm her favorite. It depends, like, if there's other things going on. But it's usually, but she's the one that she's like, no, I don't have a favorite.
Because my sisters say that about me because I'm the only boy of 3 sisters. So like, oh, Cole's the favorite. I'm like, no,
You're not the favorite.
not necessarily.
Well, I'm also like the child who has gone and done the most, like
Oh, I'm not.
D1 athlete, nursing. I went to college straight after high
you the
school,
one
and
that
I'm
done the
actually
second
gonna
least?
finish college right after high school. Like I didn't ever take a gap. I've always made really good grades. I've always done community service. Like I am like the poster child in my parents' eyes. Not really.
For sure.
What did you say about me? You said, didn't I what?
Aren't you like the second, like, non-done the most child?
Thanks.
What
If
was
that, well,
Because, like, I know Liv doesn't... Is she in any clubs at app?
no, but like she's the youngest, so I feel like the youngest, and like I don't know if that attributes you though, but I feel like the youngest from the older siblings is gonna get like a little extra like love from the parents or something like that. But like my older sisters are more accomplished because they're just like my oldest sister like has kids and she's living away from home obviously, and then my other sister is about to get like officially married in September, so like she's got stuff going on, and then there's me and Liv. So Liv, we got a long way to go, but yeah.
You can only go up.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Buddy.
See, I learned now.
I get PTSD.
Thomas, yeah, I was
now.
about to say Thomas. You could just see in his eyes. Oh God.
Hearing do-new, do-new.
She didn't get that, but-
do-new.
Nobody gets it.
What?
But yeah, so I think this was a success. Having the conversation, and just like that, I take it back.
In this corner, we have White Lightning. In this corner, we have Crippled.
Damn,
That's her name on my phone.
racist and insensitive. the two words how you describe Tom's.
Well, that's her name on my phone. You know that, right?
Crippled.
Crippled Kayla.
Yep.
Ouch. Literally. But yeah, I think this was a success because I liked more that it was more revolved around like we're not forcing to go back to a certain thing because I feel like sometimes that's the our Achilles heels. We like try to go back to or like connect the dots to something. We're like, that didn't make any sense. But we just talk about the person, then there we go. So hopefully this was enjoyable. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, everybody else seems like they had a lot of fun too. But yeah, and I think we got to do for this week a music, and I think we have an album for Monday. So hopefully we listen to.
I'll only be here on Sunday.
I have an album to listen to. I guess I can talk about it. I don't care.
We can listen. We can listen to something or watch a movie. Oh, we should watch a movie.
Our last one was a movie, so we're on an album now.
What album? We should watch a movie.
I'm just honestly like I feel like that's more for us, and I don't even know if people like enjoy that segment that much. So
yeah,
might scrap it, but who knows?
We should make it.
The weed whacker came back. But we'll cut it now before we say a bunch of nonsense. So thanks again. Start of season 3. Fantastic. But yeah, this one's gonna be a lot more like guest focused. I really enjoyed that about the second season, just being able to talk to a bunch of people.
All about me.
If we do have sporadic episodes of us not recording with people, it's probably because I'm gonna be gone for a month and a half.
Yeah, Thomas is gone for like the rest of summer pretty much. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. But
Okay.
until whatever or whoever the next episode is, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.